Shalom, dear intercessors and watchmen on the walls of Jerusalem. This week, the Jewish people all over the world have celebrated the Feast of Purim, remembering the wonderful victory that God provided when the Jewish people were threatened with extinction in the Persian Empire 2,500 years ago. One of the texts that is read in every synagogue around the world during Purim is the story about Joshua's victory over Amalek when the Israelites came out of Egypt. And this is what is written in Exodus chapter 17, when Moses stood on the top of the mountain and lifted his hands towards God's throne. And it says in verse 11 that whenever Moses held his hands towards God's throne in prayer, Joshua was winning. But whenever his hands were too tired and he let them down, the Amalekites were winning. And then later on it says in the end of the passage that God says that there will be a battle with Amalek as long as this world stands, from generation to generation until the Messiah comes. This teaches us, friends, that we must in this hour continue in unceasing prayer for Israel in the battle against those forces that want to destroy the Jewish people. It's a battle from generation to generation. And whenever we are faithful in our intercession to lift our hands in prayer for Israel, they will be winning. But whenever we let go, then Amalek will have the victory. So we need to be encouraged to continue to pray faithfully for Israel. We thank you for fasting and praying with us for Prime Minister Netanyahu's speech in the U.S. Congress this week. We believe God heard our prayers. It was a very powerful speech where Netanyahu warned the Western world and especially the United States of America to not go ahead with the present agreement with Iran that will allow Iran to have nuclear weapons within 10 years. And this is going to be a disaster, not only for Israel, but for the entire Middle East and the whole world. So President Obama mocked the speech by Netanyahu, called it a theater. But we need to pray that the U.S. Congress will stand up and be willing to take this confrontation with President Obama and stop this agreement from going into effect. President Obama, he began his career as a president by actively launching the so-called Arab Spring, which turned into a midwinter of fundamentalist Islamic terror all over the Middle East. The Middle East is in flames right now through this initiative that President Obama actively launched when he became president. Now he is also very determined to take Iran out of its isolation in the international community and allow them to get nuclear weapons. And this is a great danger. And not only is President Obama determined to go ahead with this agreement, there are also reports now from the White House that as soon as the elections in Israel are over on the 17th of March, he's going to begin to pressure Israel to enter into negotiations with the Palestinians to establish a Palestinian state. And if necessary, President Obama will take this to the UN Security Council and force a solution upon Israel. Obviously, he is determined that during his time in office in the White House, he will establish a Palestinian state. So this is not in line with God's will, and we need to pray that God is going to stop this. And one of the things that we must pray for is or continue, I should say, to pray for, is the elections on the 17th of March. because if the Labour Party wins the elections, they have declared, Yitzhak Herzog has declared that he will immediately go to Washington, D.C. and cooperate with Obama in launching new peace negotiations with the Palestinians. And he is going to force Jewish settlers from their homes in order to create the Palestinian state. So we need to pray, friends, that not only the Likud party under Netanyahu will win the elections, but that there will be a strong right-wing coalition government formed after the election. We need to pray for the relationship between Naftali Bennett and Prime Minister Netanyahu. We believe God wants to create a powerful duo between the two, because that is going to be able to defend Israel against the efforts to create a Palestinian state. We have also noticed over the past 25 years that whenever Israel agreed to negotiate to give away land in order to establish a Palestinian state, that the rains stopped falling over Israel. Right now, this winter, there have been no negotiations with the Palestinians, and it is not a coincidence that Israel has enjoyed an abundance of rain this winter. It has been above the average rainfall that Israel receives per year, and that is a blessing. And we need to continue. This shows us that God is not interested in establishing a Palestinian state, and we are to pray for His will to be done on earth as it is in heaven. So thank you for standing with us. Continue to pray for the elections, that the left-wing parties will lose in these elections, and that there will be a strong right-wing coalition in Israel after these elections. You are so important, and we thank God for each one of you. God bless you as a watchman on the walls of Jerusalem. Shalom.